Welcome, everybody who's watching, to Remotely Creative, our first episode of my crazy idea of social distancing for musicians and artists. Was the idea is that we can't get together in real life, so why not get together here online and just talk about what we've been doing in life and music and art, and that's kind of the idea. So when I had the crazy idea and I thought, who should I start this with? Who would be willing to go along with me on this crazy adventure? I said, I know who, the JLB, because they say yes to anything I say at all. They go, yes, Jed, whatever you say. Live Zoom conference on Facebook Live? Sure, why not? And so here they are. So I have the pleasure of kicking off this experiment with some of my absolute favorite people in the world, the members of the JLB, Mr. Kenny Kaufman, Mr. Mark Gutenplan, and Mr. Pete Martine. All right, welcome, guys. Thanks for joining me tonight. Everybody, give them a big round of applause if you would. Thank you so much. Definitely got a few people watching on Facebook. Hopefully, some more people roll in while we're here. So JLB is with us tonight. We're going to talk about music and inspiration and what we've been up to. I wanted to give a little bit of history first before we got into some specifics, and we're running a little late, but like you said, we got nothing better to do, so here we are. A little history first. The Jed Luckless Band formed in late 2010. With Eric Stramiello on drums. He was one of the first members, the first member to join the band. And then we added Kenny on bass, and we started rehearsals with the band in 2011. On March 9th, 2011, we played our very first show live. That was as the Jed Luckless Trio. And then Mark joined us on keys. And our first full show as the Jed Luckless Band was on March 30th, 2011, and that was at Dark Star in Second Life, and it looked a little something like this. And I'm showing the audience a picture of what we looked like back then on Second Life playing at Dark Star. And then that incarnation of the band, we actually played 57 shows with that lineup between 2011 and the end of 2014 on Second Life, but also at a lot of local bars like the Bayou in Mount Vernon was one place that we played. And yeah, my pictures are all whacked. They're a little, let me fix the picture so the audience can see it. There we go. There's a picture of us. I'm sharing a picture of us at the Bayou, one of our shows at the Bayou in Mount Vernon. Our last show actually with that lineup was played on December 5th, 2014 at a place called the Beach House Cafe, where we also played a lot of shows, and that was in Greenwich, Connecticut. And then at that point, our drummer Strambo left the band. We went on hiatus for about 2 years, I think it was, until we were super lucky to meet our good friend Pete Martine, who joined the band at that point and has been with us ever since. And there we are playing a gig at Candlewood Lake that we played outside as JLB 2.0. We played our first show as JLB 2.0 on June 7th, 2016 in Second Life. And the four of us here have played 37 shows together since then, which makes the total for the band 94 shows as a complete unit from the very beginning to today. So it's been a great history. I've had a great time. I'm so glad I met all you guys along the way. So thankful for those early years, the early history of the Jed Luckless Band. And then, of course, the more recent JLB 2.0 really has taken it to another level with Pete joining us. So it's been a lot of fun and my absolute pleasure to be part of a band with you guys. So thank you. So let's get into some talking and questions. Kenny sounds like he's ready to do some talking. So I'm going to start with you, Kenny. You're the earliest member of the band now in the band. So tell us what it was like when you first joined the band. I don't even remember how we pulled you in, but I do kind of remember an early rehearsal at Lagan Studios or Did you know the band at
Yo,
that
hello,
point?
Faye, hello. Yeah, well, okay. You remember, it was Elmsford, Lagan Rehearsal Studio. I posted an ad back, I don't know, 2010 or something, looking to play government mule music. Stram responds to it. Like, hey, well, it's this sort of thing. It's really not like, and the three of us got into that studio upstairs, that little, like, dimensionally triangular, whacked out, like, space of the studio that Charlie's got up in Lagan Studio. Shout out to Lagan Studio. Greatest place on the world.
Love Charlie. Love Charlie.
And right. And we just started jamming, and I was like, well, yeah, this is really where my heart lies. And then, I'm just going to cut to the chase. Found out that you were like as good a songwriter as I have ever seen anywhere. Prolific. Frickin' you put Frank Zappa to shame. Well, not quite, but just awesome stuff all over the place. Really good. Freedom, everything. And it's like, I'm holding on here.
Yeah, I do remember that first jam. It was electric, actually, the three of us in that room at Lagan, and we did a lot of rehearsing there in the early days. Again, a great studio Charlie Lagan runs in Elmsford. Yeah, I knew it right from the start that you're going to fit in, even though you were looking for a government mule band, and we totally didn't play no government mule, no Allman Brothers, no nothing like that. But you have a definite Warren Haynes vibe to you, I think, and the hair's looking more Warren Haynes than ever right now. So
yeah, I know. It's like, my stylist didn't show up. I'm sorry.
None of ours did.
That's an inside joke.
None of ours did. So
I look for a lot of things in music. I look for a lot of things, and I don't like, that was just, well, let's see if anybody knows, like, government mule stuff at the time, but like, wait a minute, I've been in a couple of original bands, like, throughout, like, my many decades on the planet. Yes, I'm aging and dating myself right now. And it was like, wow, this one's good. And we've had, well, I'll at least to speak for myself, I've had some, like, memorable gigs and experiences, both live and recording, with each and every one of you. And Jed, you're just like, I ain't like, well, you're the zen of the band, man. Thank you. It's been a blessing to know you. It's a blessing to know you.
Thank you. And I love you too. Mark, going to Mark, you joined shortly after Ken did. What was your connection into the band, and what was your first impression of us?
Well, I like Kenny. I also ran an ad on Craigslist. I ran an ad that I was a jam band keyboardist looking for a band. And Stram responded to that, contacted me. I got contacted by a lot of bands from that ad, and I already started playing with a few, so I didn't say yes to you guys originally. It took a few weeks, but Stram was kind of persistent, kept telling me this would be a good time. And then when I saw a video, I recognized Kenny, because I had played with Kenny about 5 years earlier with our now deceased friend Joe Potts in the Set in the Record Straight band. And then Kenny kind of sent me a little note, said, fun times, good times. So that was my introduction. And it's been great. You're awesome, Jed. Kenny's great. Pete's been a great addition. Craigslist is what's kind of put us all together. It's how Kenny got here. It's how I got there. And it's how Pete's going to get here, as he'll tell his story now. So. All
right. Fair enough. And Craigslist is good for a lot of things, actually. And it's changed a lot over the years, as we have. But so Pete, obviously you joined much later. And my recollection was that Mark kind of introduced you into the band. So I guess Mark started trolling Craigslist for people. And I immediately knew it was going to be a totally great fit when I met you, just because A, you like fish. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And B, you love to jam, and I love to jam, a lot. So I knew from the beginning it was going to be great. But do you remember that first time you got together with us?
100%. Well, it started with Craigslist, and me and a bassist friend of mine actually put out an ad trying to start a jam band and said, hey, anybody else interested? And Mark contacted me. He's like, well, I'm in a band and we need a drummer. Would you like to play with us? And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. So then he sent me some of the links, and it was actually a little intimidating. I was like, man, this guy's got a lot of shit all up here on the internet, and it was you know, he was explaining to me the Second Life thing, but I was like, all right, this sounds like it'll be cool. And yeah, I remember getting together and playing with you guys. I was a little nervous, a little intimidated, but like after hanging out with you guys and after like the music just kind of took over, I was just like, this is a good place to be. And that's why I'm there anytime you all want to play. Oh, no.
Craigslist is the whole metropolitan New York area. And we were looking for a drummer, and we found one 2 miles from us.
Yeah, amazing. That was the best part. He's like, I got Mark that lives like 2 miles down that way, and Jed that lives like 3 miles down that way.
When we're
that guy lives like 5 miles that way.
It's unbelievable. I mean, you're not in New Jersey, you're not in the city. You're down the friggin' road.
Yep.
It's a small world.
That is really wild. Yeah, and it's been very convenient and great as well. So that's been cool. And I forgot that, like, you know, I've been in Second Life so long, since 2009, that to me it really is like my first life in a lot of ways. But to you guys, that was a totally foreign thing. It must have been so weird. Like, what is this virtual world that Jed lives in and is pulling us into? Like,
I heard of it once on The Office, and that was it.
The Office, or like Ready Player One, or something like that. You know,
I'm still trying to figure out my avatar and the right avatar.
Yeah,
maybe I have to watch the movie.
Aren't we all? But yeah. So let's roll a video. I got some videos queued up of the band. Let's do an early one from the first show that we played together as a unit, which was June 7th, 2016. And this is our song, Still in Love with You. So let's see if the video will work.
Come on, video.
Hey, where's that stylist? What's up?
All right, you guys got to mute yourselves during the video. Mute yourselves.
Let it flow.
Mute yourselves.
Okay.
Mute.
Looking out the window, I can see a brighter day. Seem to me I'm always something standing in my way. Usually it's me who's holding myself back from what I think I need. The sun is shining, there's a smile upon my face. When the rain comes in again, I can't lose my face. Usually it's just another winter weather warning I don't need. Love you, but I just don't know. Love you, but I got to go. Hate to say it's true. I'm still in love with
You suffer from occasional diabetes.
to the future. I can see a better way. Seem to me I'm always waiting just for one day. Usually it's me who's telling myself that the best is yet to be.
We're here waiting for
I would think.
somebody submit a question. Isn't there like a blog we could play?
Yes.
Usually it's just another side of myself.
Here we go.
I'm not submitted.
I love you, but I just don't know. I love you, but I got to go. I hate to say it's true. I'm still in love with you. stick around. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away!
All right, Still in Love with You.
See?
You guys back with me? All right, you are.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
Roger
Cool.
that.
That works pretty well. Everybody watched the video and they heard the video, and
I didn't watch
Fraser
the
says
video.
the sound's nice. We'll say some hellos. Bree, it's great to see you. Thanks for watching, Bree and Fraser, and Trey is here, and Mooney's here, and my mom should be tuning in soon, hopefully.
Hi, Mom.
So it's great. We got a few people watching. So yeah, that was Still in Love with You. You know, goes way back to our first show, 2016. We've all been playing for a long time, music, and we've all been in other bands before this. My first real band in the 90s was called Gurgle. That was after Sure Killed Distressway. That's a shout out for Fraser. But we were called Gurgle, and we played all over New York City and the East Coast. It was a lot of fun until it wasn't anymore, and then we broke up. Like they say, most bands don't break up on stage, they break up on the bus. But anyways, we were young. It was a great band, though. It was really fun. It produced some great tunes, many of which I still play today, and some that we play as a band still, like The Freeze. That was a very popular Gurgle tune at the time. So I'll go back to Ken again. Ken, first, who's your buddy there, Ken?
I just learned something. The Freeze was a Gurgle tune.
The Freeze was a Gurgle tune from the 90s.
That was, I hate to like go back to like, you know, that initial jam, but that was the song that night in Lagan where I was like, I'm sold. The Freeze. And my buddy, Pete, say hello.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you?
You remember Peter?
Well, I'm actually his songwriting partner. He's writing songs these days.
Awesome.
I digress. Yeah, we're working on his anthem. Can I say the title?
Yeah.
It's called Human Jelly Jar. That's about all
I
you
love
get
it
to know.
already. I love it already.
Yeah.
We need to
I'm
play it.
thinking of introducing it for us to give it a whirl too. But
Yeah.
anyhow, what was the question?
The question was, so the question is, how did you first get into music? When did you first get into music? And what was the first band you were ever in?
Oh, well, I got handed all to my older brother, 8 years older than me, Danny. I basically stole his acoustic guitar from him when I was about 12 years old. He'd go out on dates, you know, and I good. I get to open up his guild and I just jammed and played with. Actually, it goes a little bit before that. I had a drum set that my parents got me, but as soon as they found out how hard I like to hit, it was like that was the end of that. Pete, you can probably relate. Yes, you know. First band I was in was with my brother, actually. He put me back on drums because he said, stop touching my guitar. So he set up a gig, and we were called Sperm Whale.
Sorry.
I'm not kidding.
That's a terrible name.
I know it's a family show.
Terrible
we were
name.
called Sperm Whale with my brother's friends, and I was on drums. We played for... it was called the mentally and emotionally challenged people in Westchester. My brother was a social worker, lived with them in one of these houses, and every Friday night we get together and jam and throw a party, and they'd be there twitching and having a freaking great time. And so, yeah, I mean, I just got to give a shout out to my brother. All comes from him.
Awesome.
Thank you, Danny.
And you say you started on guitar and drums before you ever got to bass.
Yeah, well, I married them.
Yeah.
Enough said.
Cool.
Enough
Mark,
said. Not to mention it's a hell of a lot easier, less equipment.
you know, speaking of playing a lot of instruments, Mark, you're the multi-instrumentalist in the band, really? Jumping from keys to guitar to flute when it strikes you? No, I've never seen you play flute. But
No.
what did you start on? Did you start on piano or guitar, Mark?
Well, my musical journey was a little different, as I didn't start playing the guitar till I was 19.
Okay.
I started playing, I have not really taken lessons, and I started playing a little piano at that time too, but no formal training. But my first band that I played in was as a bass player when I was about 28. So I didn't play in gigs as a kid. No teenage stuff, no high school stuff, no college stuff. College and afterwards, I just played acoustic guitars with friends. Most of my friends who I still play with these days. And that Kenny plays in a band with one of them, as a matter of fact, or a couple of bands with him. But that was an original band. We never played out live. And then I didn't play in another band till I was 43 years old. And started a band with my two friends, who I still play with. And we played for a little while.
Mitch and Mickey, is that Mitch and Mickey?
Nope, that was my friend Michael Morin and Dave Kessler and a bunch of people. And then me and Dave left that to go form an original band with Mitch. And then I answered an ad in 2007 that kind of changed my life. It was a Craigslist ad. Someone was looking for a bass player for, Melissa. That was my buddy Mickey. Answered that. We've been playing together ever since. Kenny plays with that. You guys have all played with him and everything. So that's my musical journey. But running the ad I did and meeting you and this band has been the best thing that's ever been invented in music.
Man, you guys are just making me feel great. I mean, all right, Ken, you can go on mute when you're not talking. Okay, Pete, I'm gonna. All right, so Pete's the youngest in the group, but I know you've played with some very cool cats along the way because some of them have sat in with us. I know Mitch and Mickey, some of the folks that Mark mentioned as well, great musicians, but I know some of your buds as well, like Mike Dickman. I wanted to give a shout out to Mike. May he rest in peace. Amazing percussionist that played with us. Chris Napolitano as well, keyboard player that has sat in with us. So, when did you pick up drums, and what was your first band, or what were some of the, exciting bands previous to JLB that you were in?
I'd say I got into drums very early. In the fourth grade, I started playing in concert bands, and I don't know, just fell in love with it immediately. Got my first drum set when I was in middle school. And at that point, I was kind of a loser. I didn't really have any friends and, played with myself a lot.
At that point?
Yeah, at that point in middle school. Take that as how you will. I'm talking about drums, though, just so we're clear. So then in high school was when I started meeting some of my lifelong friends that I'm still friends with today. And what always kept us together was music. In high school, we used to get together in my parents' basement, my friend Sean's parents, anywhere that we could play outside on the driveway and just jam. We joke about it because we still get together and play, and we're like, oh, we've been playing for 25 years and we still don't know a single song.
That's great.
It's kept a very large group of beautiful musicians in my life. So my first real band that I played in was a cover band called Under the Covers.
Cool,
and
cool name. Much better name than Sperm Whale.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, so we played quite a few gigs and, great set list as far as I was concerned. A lot of Talking Heads, a lot of like the more avant-garde, not like the typical stuff, but the stuff that everybody still likes. And that was what and then we jammed on it, and that was kind of our thing. But most people really enjoyed us. So the biggest gig we ever played was for 20,000 Boy Scouts. I was always involved with the Boy Scouts, and a guy that I went to a jamboree with years ago reached out to me and said that they were doing their own district jamboree and that they had no entertainment. And you remember that I said that I played music. So I was like, yeah, I got a band. We do covers, blah, blah, blah. So we always joked around. We should have recorded and made a live album called 20,000 Boy Scouts Under the Covers.
That's cool. That's very cool. Cool. Well, I will say, Pete, you're certainly not a loser anymore. And I
just had to find the right people. I never had people that I felt like myself with. And then I found, my friends that I just, bonded with. But one more band for mention. And then the first real band that I was ever in that I really loved playing in was called Sonic Mandala. And that was, I think, when we first started talking, I sent you one of the tracks that, with like the long electronic jam and stuff. But we back like when the Disco Biscuits were playing like the Wetlands and, you know, small shit. That was when we started like just getting really into the electronica jam thing. And it was just me and like 4 of my best friends. And we played all around the state, a lot of like SUNY schools. We actually opened for the Big Woo ones, a bunch of very cool guys, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, and then unfortunately, a very good friend of mine who was our sound man, very good friend of all of ours, passed away, you know, in a car accident. And that just, it kind of killed the momentum. You know, he was an integral part, like as a friend, as a sound man, and just as like a member, we toured together, you know. And so that kind of tore that. And then I wasn't really I was in and out of things until JLB. And
yeah, well, again, I knew it was going to be a great fit right away. And, you know, your playing style, I love it. I'm a big Disco Biscuits fan as well. So I love that style, as well as I know, you know, you're highly into Fish. And I write some weird songs with weird little turnarounds and things. And, you know, you're always right there on them. So let's hear one of those now. I know this is one of Pete's favorite, and this video features Pete. He's a little in and out of focus on it. But it's definitely a good example of Pete's amazing drumming. It's called Maserati. So if you guys don't mind going on mute while we run the video, it's a short one, and we'll let the audience enjoy this one. It's from September 25th, 2018.
This one's called Maserati. Hope you enjoy the ride. Hi. Shit, someone smashed the windshield.
as that part.
Maserati. Okay, that's a fun one. That's always a fun one to play. Maserati. I love Pete's drumming on that one. There's that fill in the middle of that. You guys couldn't hear the video along, but he does that fill in the middle of that. So nice. That's a fun little song. Always fun to play. So I noticed we lost Pete. He's taking a little break, but we'll carry on. We play as a band. We've played a lot of Grateful Dead. We've played a lot of Fish tunes. But it's really, in my opinion, it's really the originals that make JLB JLB. And the jams, maybe. Our jam style is different and interesting. I like it. It's always fun to jam with you guys. I'd love to talk a little bit about songwriting and the songwriting process. We don't really write together as a unit. At least we haven't yet written a song together. So that's an interesting thing to think about. We don't live in a barn together or anything like that. So it's a little difficult. So it's more like we bring the individual songs to the band. And obviously I brought a lot of material to the band. But you guys have brought some material to the band too. I'll skip Pete for now because he's away. So I'll just go to Kenny first. Kenny, we love Sawmill River. It's such a monster rocker of a tune that we play. I think you co-wrote that tune, if I'm not mistaken, with somebody. But we really need to hear more Ken tunes, my question, though, is really more about, how much do you write? And when you do you write really on guitar? Is that how you write? Or does bass come into it when you're writing? What can you tell us about writing? Or do you not really do that much writing?
I write on guitar, and a lot of times though it'll just appear in my head, a song or a pattern or a riff. In fact, for what it's worth, it happens about 6 out of 7 days a week. I'll wake up in the morning and there's something riffing in my head, and it's like, all right, is it worth putting it in my notes or anything? But all the stuff I've written, just me sitting on my bed with a guitar, and the lyrics are always the hardest part for me to come up with, because it's like, well, what the hell do I got to say to anybody? It hasn't been said before. But musically, in fact, a lot of what I've been doing during this whole lockdown, or whatever the hell you want to call it, has just been picking up the acoustic guitar and just exploring away and logging a few riffs here and there. Most of the songwriting I've done was in my 20s, but I've got a few other gems definitely that have come up in the past decade or so that you got it. I'm going to bring them to you, my friend.
I'm excited.
Bring them to the JLB. Yeah.
I can't wait.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I got some stuff, definitely.
Yeah, I think, this has been a pretty inspirational time for a lot of musicians, I think, the lockdown, and a lot of people have been very prolific. I know I've written...
It's been a time where they've gotten to, catch their breath and re-explore things that, with time on their hands, they've been able to explore other things and have a different context, as opposed to, well, for me, it's been great. Oh, not another gig, or not another this, or not another that. It's like, I feel like I'm back where I was, back in college. I just got the time to spend and learn, see what comes to me.
I mean, you're the busiest one in the band by far. You're always playing in 6 different acts. And I know Trey in the chat room asked about current side projects. I know you play in Stonehill band. I thought I saw that Stonehill's coming back sometime in August. Hopefully we'll see if that's true.
Yeah, we'll wait and see. That's all, that's all Fauci related, basically.
Well, I look forward to hearing your new tunes. I know I've written about 5 or 6 new songs during this break as well. So it'll be fun when we reconvene.
I, for one, cannot wait.
I'll still wait for Pete. He just got back, so I'll skip over to Mark. Mark, I totally love all your songs so much. I really, your songs are they're so personal. They're totally personal to you, but yet they totally resonate with anybody. And that's what I love about them. And I really don't know which one I enjoy playing the most, because I totally love them all. Road Trip, Remember This Night, English Town. They're all great. I actually play them frequently at my solo shows. That's how much I love them, is that I love to play them even when I'm not with you guys. So my question for you is, how do you approach the songwriting? Does it always come from kind of personal experience? It seems to really start with personal experience. And if so, how does that turn into a song? And do you ever get like abstract with your lyrics or fantastical? Because most of the stuff I've heard is like, it's about your daughter, it's about your trip to English Town, it's about your going in the car on a road trip. They're very like real scenarios.
Well, thank you for the compliment on the songs. I appreciate that. The best part about being in JLB all these years is we've been playing mostly original music. And as a musician, that's just the best thing. Whether they're my songs, your songs, Kenny's songs, Pete's contribution. As a musician, to be able to have a forum, to be able to express ourselves that way, regardless of which one of us is writing the song, is just awesome. Because anyone can mimic an album, anyone can be in a cover band, and that's a lot of fun in its own way. And we all enjoy doing that at different times for different bands. And we all like playing our Dead and Fish covers, but the originals are really what it's all about for me, and I think for all of us. That's the best. As far as my stuff, like Kenny, most of my writing is done on my acoustic guitar. Most of my writing is me strumming around, messing around, just not really playing anything in particular, and something just starts coming out. Something starts working. Maybe I'll start singing something, maybe not. Usually I don't write it down. Usually it takes a long time to ferment, a long time. And then all of a sudden, as if there's a final or school's about to be over, I sort of will finish a bunch of songs together at the same time, get a little batch together. But they've all been works in progress. They've been great. They are mostly personal, but Road Trip is actually mostly fantastical. That's really just, about a trip going out to the moon and out of space. I actually wrote that one. My daughter Marley came into my jam room with my friends and said, here's a song I wrote. And it was called Going on a Road Trip. And the first line of it was going on a road trip, going to Pennsylvania. That's the only thing I used, but I had that kind of a B minor A thing already. So I just kind of, and all of a sudden I go, wow, that's perfect. Going, and all of a sudden we started playing that in one of my other bands, and we really think it. So songwriting is fabulous. I have done a fair amount of it during this pandemic. I have a bunch of songs that I have had to finish. I've spent a little time doing that. And I've written a couple of new ones. I do it all the time. I rarely write them down. I've written thousands in my brain. Thousands. Some of them are even actually good. Very rarely did it get out to paper. So that is why I'm doing this with you guys, and it's great. I love it. And this has been a great place to do it. So my favorite part is the original. So
Awesome. Well, I hope we get to hear 1% of those 1,000 tunes at least that you've written in your head, and bring them to the band because they're all great. I want to get to Pete on this question too, but I want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Ryan tuning in on the Facebook. If you're still watching, Ryan, it's great to see you there. Glad to have you in the audience. One of my good friends. Pete, songwriting. I mean, maybe it was a good time for you to take a break from the room because I'm not sure how much songwriting you do. I imagine as a drummer, it's difficult to write songs. But do you have any? I mean, I'd love to have a Pete song in the band. That would be great. Like a Lengthwise or, something like that. Even Fishman writes some songs in Fish. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Do you write stuff ever? Do you have any tunes?
I write songs all day as far as like lyrics go. I sing about everything. I sing all day. That's one of the things my kids love doing with me is, we hang out, we sing about anything around. But as far as like writing songs to do with people, I'm hoping to do it more in the future. I'm actually teaching myself how to play the piano right now, very simply, and just learning, like the structures of keys and how to move around. And then I'm hoping I can maybe take some ideas. But besides that, one of the band Sonic Model that was in, the thing that I liked about a lot of our music was we wrote it all collectively. Usually we would get together, jam, record it, listen back, find a portion and be like, hey, I like what we did here. and build from there. And that was when I actually learned I'm pretty decent at arranging, you know. So like we would go and like have like these two parts. How do we join them together? And I really enjoyed, you know, figuring out like good hits or like, you know, good kind of segues, you know, to take things together or bind them together or how to line them up to make them sound good. But other than that, I mostly just hit shit and try to make it sound good.
That's cool. And I think, you know, that's interesting that you write lyrics, you know, obviously like somebody like Neil Peart, was an amazing lyricist, right? It contributed so many of those great lyrics to the great Rush songs. That would be something fun for us to do, I think, would be to take some of your lyrics. I'd love to write some music to some of your lyrics. I think that'd be a cool way for us to collaborate. It's harder as you get older, I think, to write as a unit, because again, we're not sitting around in a college dorm or in a barn somewhere all together all for hours on it.
Oh, we don't even practice.
Yeah, we barely even have time for practice. Our shows are our practice. But I think that would be a cool way to collaborate, would be to, you know, take some of your lyrics and write a song around it. So by all means, if you want to send some over, I would love to do that. Let's play another video. I wanted to circle back to Mark's song Road Trip. We talked about it. Marley, I had no idea that Marley was the genesis of that. So it's great. I'm learning things on this call. So it's really fun. This is Road Trip.
Wait a minute. Let me just also say that Marley was the genesis of Remember This Night, a song that I actually did write down. I was watching her, and that's written about her. And
that I knew, but although I didn't know it when I first heard the song, when you first hear Remember the Night, it kind of sounds like a love song, which it is, but it's a love song about your daughter, about, you know, your daughter growing up, and you want to preserve that moment in time. And I mean, really, I almost cry when I play that song. It's just so emotional. Your songs are so emotional. So let's listen to Road Trip. This is from actually just the most recent video I'm going to play tonight from our JLB 2020 opening show in January of this year. And I'll come back to JLB 2020 after the video. We'll talk about that a little bit. But here, if you guys don't mind going on mute, so the audience can enjoy Road Trip.
Somebody drop the gavel and start this convention.
Rocks, baby.
grab your gear. By noon tomorrow we'll gather here. Where we're going, I'll try to ride. I'm not sure if I will. Am I going on a road trip? Going on a road trip. Going on a road trip. Going on a road trip. Going on a road trip.
All right. That was Road Trip. Man, that was a really good version of Road Trip too. Rockin' version of Road Trip. Loved it. Awesome song, awesome performance. That was from our January inaugural show on our JLB 2020. Let's talk about that for a minute. JLB 2020 was this really kind of high concept idea we had this year. We usually, as a band, we usually do these like small little tours of shows. Most of our shows are in Second Life at this point. We're not playing a lot of bars and stuff. But even in Second Life, we do these small tours where I book like, 3 to 5 shows for us during a month or a 6-week period. And that's been a lot of fun. We've had some really nice runs. We've had some great, really fun March Madness events, which have been really awesome. And around March Madness, those have been fun. But this year I was like, hey, let's do something different. Let's play the first Tuesday of every month, and it'll all build up and lead up to election day. And of course, the band, like always, was like, okay, Jed, let's do it, which was great. And I don't want to get too political here. I really don't. Not with this crowd. Certainly not. We'll need like another hour on the Zoom if we go down that path. But the concept was kind of political in the sense that, and I was going to play the announcement video, but we're running late, so I'll skip that. You can check it out on YouTube if you want to see the original announcement video for the JLB 2020 run. It was kind of fun. It was like a campaign ad, kind of, because the whole idea was kind of political. Because in 2016 we played a show on election day. And, it was so surreal to play that show on election day that I thought it would be super cool to be able to have another show on this election day. And hopefully the result is a little bit, I'll just say, different than the first time out.
Less surreal.
Yeah, less surreal would be good. More real would be good for sure. So that was really the whole, that was the whole idea. And it was then the tagline was Make America Jam Again, which is funny. And I made hats, Make America Jam Again. And I think people actually thought I was a Trump supporter or something with that tagline, but that wasn't at all the point. Anyway, we got 3 months into that. We did 3 shows. It was fun, and then COVID hit, and that was the end of that. And for the past 3 months, we've had to rerun videos of old shows, like most bands have done, and that can be fun. But we're social distancing like everybody else, and we haven't been able to play, which is really why I wanted to do this, because this is so great. It's so great actually to spend time with you guys. I've missed you so much. So thanks again for doing this. It's really been fun, and I think the audience is having a great time. Listening in and learning about the band and the band members. So I'm going to start with Mark on the next question. Because I know Mark has started playing some music again. Live with some folks in a social distancing kind of way. So, how's that going, Mark? How does that feel? What do you see going forward for music, for live music? And, will we be playing again anytime soon?
Well, I've done a couple of things as of recently. First of all, I have started playing at the farmers market. We've done that a few times, and that's felt good and safe. And that's a nice, safe crowd of people who come properly masked, and everyone is respectful. So that feels good. I also did a gig at a assisted living facility last week, me and my buddy Mickey, where we played outside to the residents who watch from their windows. So that was really nice.
That's cool.
It also felt nice and comfortable. The place was COVID free, so there was a good vibe there. Some people are actually milling about outside, so that was kind of nice. But I also started playing music on my driveway with friends. Me and Pete and another one of our other bands had a little partial jam on the driveway, and that's been fun too, in a socially outdoor, distant, safe way. I'm not quite personally ready to go indoors and play in a close place where people are singing loudly and projecting. But outdoors, I feel it's very safe. And I'm ready for us to take our next step out of the Zoom world and into either Pete's backyard, your backyard, or my driveway. Because, yeah, I do feel that safe outdoors. But indoors is a whole story. So that's my personal take on it. But I'm itching to play. It's not the same playing my acoustic guitar. One thing I have been doing on this break, which has been fun, though, is I've spent a fair amount of time playing with some albums, which I have not done a lot of in my life. That's been a lot of fun. Wish You Were Here, Eagles' Greatest Hits, just ripping through, playing with that stuff. That's a lot of fun. Different instruments, jumping around. But I'm ready for you guys.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and I hear you. It seems like the Jedstead is going to remain closed for a little bit longer before we can convene here again inside, but maybe we'll be able to do something outside, It's very tight in here,
We're
very tight.
loud. Everyone's, screaming at each other.
Yeah. And we couldn't even get 6 feet apart in here, I don't think. So it's going to be a while before we can do that again. I feel lucky that I can do my solo shows here. That's been really nice for me, at least, to be able to still perform live for people online in Second Life and still have that experience, which is great. I know that, I've also been, doing some different things. Like I've been learning a lot of fish tunes, really because Pete is making me learn some new fish tunes. I see our buddy Mark Matson is in the chat room. So Mark, who we play fish tunes with, I know Pete's been pushing me to like, hey, Jed, let's learn some of the harder fish tunes, like put some work into it. So I've been also I was just listening to Harry Hood earlier and trying to play along to Harry Hood to a recording. So that is really good for the chops and for staying tight and pushing your boundaries, because when you play along to other stuff that's not your stuff, you totally learn things, and you learn new techniques and stuff like that. Pete, what have you been up to during this time? I know you've also done a little playing with some people probably, but how have you been keeping busy musically during these times? I know you have little ones and they keep you probably pretty busy. Even during this call, they kept you busy. So, have you been able to find much time to play music during this time, or, what have you been doing on the musical front?
I find my time when I can. My wife is very supportive. She knows how big of a part of me music is, so she gives me, the time to be able to do it. So I spend a lot of time. I've been trying to work on some of my chops and trying to work on a lot of rudimentary things. Moving around the kit, different stickings and stuff to make me keep better time, as well as be more fluid and be able to explore some new avenues rhythmically. As far as making music together with people, being a drummer can be a lonely thing sometimes. It's fun to get together and play and practice my stuff, but the real gratification is playing with people. So I've done some collaborations with one of my friends that lives in Korea now, just over the internet, sending him drum tracks and him writing stuff over it, or vice versa. And then social distancing, jamming at Mark's and at another old friend of mine's, trying to do it as much as I can. But God, I really want to get together with you guys and play. I think we should try to make that happen.
Yeah, I think we're all totally itching to get back at it and get some good jams going on. Ken, man, what about you? I mean, the music seems to come so easy to you. So, do you practice much during these times or when you're alone? Do you find that you do a lot of practice? Do you have any tips for the musicians out there who, want to keep their chops up while they're not playing with people?
Wow. Tips. Music is in your head. It's as simple as that. I think like what Mark was saying before about, and Pete as well, in terms of, like you have so many ideas that just come to you naturally. And I think that's true even for people who are, quote, non-musicians or whatever. And so music is always deep and alive, and for me, it's been a time to get a little more introspective in terms of a lot of things that I've been looking. I started like messing around on the piano, but there's no question that the social element of music, and I'm going to get a little theatrical here because my wife just gave me this, and you can sing through these, people, trust me.
Interesting.
And there is no question. I've had a few experiences socially playing like Mark as well. I do senior stuff as well. And there's no question that when I went back to it after like the 3 months, I was like, oh my God, it's just so important to also have the social aspect of the music. Patience is a virtue, but man, patience is a bitch at this point as well. And I don't know what else to say.
Wow,
except everybody, the more you stay smart, the quicker we're all going to get back.
Yeah, amen to that. Wear a mask, everybody. Please wear your masks and social distance.
Wear a seatbelt, wear a mask. It's a piece of cloth.
I feel like, as New Yorkers, we're all really already on board that, that train. We've done a good job here in New York of everybody.
Great job.
Yeah.
Great.
Here to New York for sure, because everybody here is really on board with that and wearing, mask wearing is like 98% of people are wearing masks out there. So it's, we're way ahead. The sad thing is that, everybody's vulnerable from everybody else. We're one country and we're all connected in this age. So we all have to pitch in, and everybody's, again, I echo that. Everybody wear your mask. And that was a great answer, Ken. And, it's exciting to think that you could sing through a mask, because I think out of the four of us, I'm probably the most trepidatious, I think, maybe about getting back.
Go look at Phil. Go look Phil and friends
on the rooftop. That was awesome.
He posted something where he and his boys and all were singing through masks.
Yeah, I'll check that out. If Phil can do it at his age, then geez, anybody should be able to do it for sure. But I was even thinking, hey, can we do something instrumental where we're not singing? We do JLB, the Jazz Odyssey, something like that.
Down with that.
Cool. All right. Well, great answer. Let's hear one more short video, and then we'll wrap this thing up because I know we're running a little bit behind schedule. I'm going to play Ozone Blues from our September 4th, 2018 show. This is one of my favorite tunes to play with you guys. It's such a dramatic tune, and it's always a rocker. It's a great tune to open a show with you guys with. So let's go on mute and we'll let the audience enjoy this, and then we'll come back and we'll put an exclamation point on this really cool event. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy Ozone Blues.
Mercury's on the rise. Like morality, no immortality. Where can we turn our eyes? Too many persons, catastrophe worsens. We must find a newer earth. Limited seeding, civilians deleting the basis of what's your worth. We got the ozone blue. With nothing left to lose. Cosmic vibration, a massive migration, racing to reach the moon. Chance of survival, a frontier revival, a wagon is leaving soon. Lonely starship will journey that long trip to find us a better place. No more insanity, once more humanity, hope awaits out in space. We got the ozone blue. With nothing left to lose. We got the ozone blue. With nothing left to lose. With nothing left to lose. With nothing left to lose. With everything to lose. We got the ozone blue. Nothing left to
Nice. All right, Ozone Blues. That's a really good Ozone Blues. Great keyboard solo in that one. Some great drum fills in that one. Always a fun song to play. That was back from when Pete was still in the closet at the Jetstead, I noticed.
Hey, that'd be the safest place to be right now.
That's true. That's true. It'd be the only socially distanced one.
That room, that'd be my guitar room, my piano room. All of a sudden, I get there first.
Yeah, totally true. I was noticing how close Kenny and I were in that video. I'm like, yeah, that would never work right now. Yeah, it's a shame. Well, between COVID and like what's going on with Black Lives Matter and the protests and everything, it just seems like the world is totally crazy right now. And I wanted to give you guys a chance to just kind of say something meaningful if you'd like, some sort of message on what you're feeling about what's going on in any regard, or life in general? Ken's message was great about wearing masks. For my part, I would say don't not vote. That's like the most important thing you can do, is to vote and use your voting power to make change. So please, it's really important to don't not vote. Whenever somebody says I'm not going to vote, I go, don't not vote. And if you want more info about voting or your options, you can go visit don'tnotvote.org, which is an organization that I do work with. So that's kind of my message. But, Ken, again, I always kind of hesitate to give Ken a political soapbox. But go ahead. The soapbox is yours, my man.
Okay. Absolutely vote. However, fellow Americans, don't put all your eggs in the basket of this election turning out to be fair. In fact, I'll make a wager with anyone who wants to wager right now, even money. I don't care what the amount is. I say the election is not going to come off as smoothly as your standard election. You think it will? Wager. Anyway, my point is, I think this might be a time. Yeah, exactly.
These are crazy times. Anything's possible.
You know what? This is really a time I think a lot of, I don't want to say intelligent people. I want to say true people who understand and feel the freedoms that we have, and how far are you willing to go to protect it? Because this could be, 1860 something all over again. Do not assume anything less.
Okay, fair enough. I think, again, a lot of things have occurred in 2020 that we never would have expected to happen, and have occurred in the past.
Absolutely, and we're
4
all
years.
very, complacent and spoiled and everything. But
I hear you, my man. I hear you. There's people standing on their front lawns with weapons. So it's weird times.
We may all be needing to go to Washington. Yeah, exactly. With more than just our fingers.
Pete, what's on your mind? What do you want to say? I can see him. He's brewing there. By the way, these two guys, man, sometime nights at the Jedstead after shows, they'll be here for set break is sometimes so tough. I'm like, guys, we're in the middle of a show and they're like 20 minutes arguing about politics or something. So, but go ahead. The floor is yours.
Usually just conversing politics, but I'd like to quote Bill and Ted and be excellent to each other. One of my biggest things right now is that we've lost the caring and the understanding for each other. Everybody's so hung up on the things that divide us. There's more that unites us than divides us. We all just want to live our lives, enjoy our family, our friends, and don't judge people because you don't live in their house. You don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know what's driving them to say, do whatever that they're going to do, but just try to understand rather than fight. If we understand each other and we actually come together, the whole reason why people came together in society was to make life better. We were supposed to come together and say, hey, you do this for society, I'll do that. And we all work together. And then we all don't have to farm the land, make the food, hunt the stuff, and do it all. We can all work together. So just remember, we're in this together.
Amen.
Awesome. Couldn't have said it better. Mark, your turn. You're often the voice of reason in the band, and also a real fountain of wisdom. Many times I've found you to be very, very wise and thoughtful in the way you look at things and the way you speak about things. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on life currently.
It's all out of whack. The whole universe. They don't have enough sage in the planet to spread around and burn for what's going on. It's all going to get better. It's bad. It's going to get better. Hopefully Ken's doomsday scenario does not come to be. It might. We hope not. Everyone's got to be smart. Intelligence will win out in the end. Science will win.
This is what makes this a great band, by the way, is the various, kind of opinions. Ken's doomsday. And again, I think one thing I love about you, Mark, is you're really a serious optimist. You're always an optimist. You're always looking at the bright side. I'm somewhere in the middle. I fluctuate between extreme pessimism and extreme optimism.
Well, there's a lot of good that goes on in this world that isn't reported. And there's a lot of really great people doing a lot of really, really great things that no one knows anything about. So, we have to keep going on, and we have to be positive. We have to keep our ears and our eyes open, and we have to be smart. Intelligence and science. This is what advances society. Not fact, not rumors and hearsay. Intelligence, science, math. These things work. So.
Two thoughts on that. Part of the inspiration for doing this Zoom thing was that I've been attending these bass vault webinars hosted by Steve Bailey and Victor Wooten. And it's great. They bring all these amazing musicians together to do what we're doing. And so I wanted to do it within our circles. And it's been equally as inspirational and fun as those. But two quotes from those that stuck with me. One, you made me think of it, keep going, was advice from Frank Zappa that somebody brought up. And his advice was, number one, don't stop. Number two, keep going. And so that's great advice. And Victor Wooten himself, who's dropped many like nuggets of wisdom in these things. One of my favorite quotes I got from him is, be a better you and you'll be a better player. And I thought that, bringing that back to music and joining who you are and the world you live in and the way you look at the world to the art you create is so true, so be a better you and you'll be a better player, which I thought was really cool. Great answers, you guys. I totally love you guys. You've been so great to do this with me tonight. And once again, oblige my crazy creative side. And again, the perfect guinea pigs for this with the technical issues and stuff. You stuck with it. Always my favorite guinea pigs. If I could test a COVID vaccine on you, I would. Final thought that we'll leave for the night is when the lockdown's over, I know we all want to play music again with the JLB. We definitely covered that. But when this is over and you can go back out and do anything you want, what's going to be the one thing that you really can't wait to do other than playing music with us? We talked about that, but outside of that, what would be the one thing that you really can't wait to do once this is over? Pete?
Oh, I had to go first. I haven't even formulated my answer yet.
Mark?
First thing I really want to do is I want to go see live music. I miss being in a crowd. I miss feeling comfortable around people. And I just miss that camaraderie of going and seeing a kick-ass band with some good people. And that's probably going to be one of my first things.
Yeah, I think that's probably at the top of the list for all of us. I certainly miss the Fish shows. Although the Tuesday night shows have been fun to watch with everybody. I mean, not the same, but the community is still doing what we can to stay connected, which I think is great. Ken, you're waving your arms there. It looks like you're looking forward to something.
I think I'm going to have the same answer Mark has. I want to travel, specifically out west. I want to travel.
Okay, great answer. Great answer. Mark, was that what you were going to say?
I want to go out west. I canceled a couple of trips. I need to travel. But really what I'm looking forward to is leaving my house and not having to think about the freaking virus.
Yeah, just to go outside, right, and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, my bubble of my home and not have to have that thought in my brain when I go in to pay for gas. So it could be going to Brewster. I just want to do that and feel comfortable.
Yeah, like not to have to put on gloves to pump gasoline. I know.
Just, not have to think when someone coughs, am I about to die? So I look forward to that soon, hopefully soon enough. So.
Well, those are all great answers, guys. I think for my part, I agree with all of those. I think that what I would add is that I really can't wait to go get Mexican food and a margarita at my favorite restaurant in New York City, El Matote. I'll give them a shout out because I really miss that. That was like almost an every week thing. And I miss them. And then the other thing is to go see my hairstylist, Quito, so I could get a haircut. I've been cutting it myself, but I think I did a pretty good job actually on my self cut. But I can't wait to see Quito again. I miss him. So That's what's at the top of my list. Listen, this has been really fun. That's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of Remotely Creative, this experiment. It was really, really fun just to see you guys, and I miss you so much, and I love you guys so much. So thank you. It's been fun. To everybody watching online, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. We'll make like an announcement about whether I'm ever going to do this again or not. It was fun. And Ken, you got something to say?
This has been a special presentation of the Jed Luckless Broadcasting System. We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
It's like War of the Worlds. Sounds like War of the Worlds or something. All right, so we'll return everybody to their regular life or their irregular life, as it may be. And again, keep an eye out. Maybe we'll do another one of these. The idea was to do it with different
Love you, Jed.
artists. So next time I might have some.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, next time I might have some artists or some writers or things like that. And if maybe you guys will jump back in as special guests and join next time. So from Remotely Creative and myself, Jed Luckless, and the JLB, Kenny, Pete, and Mark, thank you, everybody. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Stay home safe and keep the faith. Good night.
Bye.